It's Hughezy. Hello, this is episode 10. But before that, let's get the plugs out of the way. For those that may not know, this podcast is also on iTunes. So there's a video version and an audio version. So if you're listening to this on iTunes, go over to YouTube and find It's Hughezy Hello there. You can see the video of this podcast. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, go over to iTunes where you can hear a different version of the show, where you can also hear music being used. Of course, you can't use it on YouTube because YouTube is copyright thirsty. And don't forget that I'm also part of Creative Control Network that's got a whole bunch of shows that you really should check out. Network's growing all the time. This is the time to get on early. You can find all them on iTunes as well. And don't forget that the It's Hughezy Hello podcast has a Patreon. So if you really want to help the show out grow and you want to get full uncut material, like unedited, uncensored, not even for iTunes, not for YouTube at all, we're talking stuff that could get accounts terminated, go to Patreon. There's a link down below. It's going to cost you a little to get to see that stuff. But as I say, running a podcast isn't free. It helps with the production of it. So there you go. Now that's all the plugs out of the way. This show, episode 10, we've got Stuttering John, the legendary comedian from Howard Stern. He's on in the main event of the show. Speaking of main events, we've got Brad Gilmore on. He's back for his monthly appearance. We're talking about the latest news in wrestling and MMA and my affair with Nikki Bella. And then we've got the return of my old mate Paul O'Hare. We're here debating David Bowie, and not just top 5, top 10. So Paul, hello. What's up?
Alright.
Alright, son. Striking a ciggy.
David
Bowie. So, well, welcome back to the podcast, Paul.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And this is going to be different to what we usually do in the music debate section, because usually we do a top 5, but trying to find 5 David Bowie songs is...
Oh man, it was hectic. I mean, you know, my top 5 changed constantly. It just kept changing. Like, there's so many songs.
I very nearly was going to do a top 30.
In at 30, we.
No, it was. Hang on, I'm actually just changing my list now on the spot.
Right. Okay.
But yes, so we were both at that Adam Buxton show last week. That was amazing. That
it's really good, wasn't it? Yeah, I used to love Adam and Joe's show, and to be honest, I'm not overly familiar with his podcast, like. But my friend had a ticket, so I took it off him, and I'm so pleased to win because it was great, so good, like.
Tell you what, though, it was a bit emotional at times too.
Yeah, it was. It was actually class seeing, you know, the old videos as well. You know, it's great.
Yeah, that video for Lazarus, I wasn't prepared to see that because I've deliberately never watched that.
Really, you never seen it, no?
No, I mean the song's brilliant, but like if somebody's telling you, right, here's a video of this guy, one of the coolest fucking guys ever, and he's terminally ill, and he's not got like much life left in his eyes and shit, and it's like.
Yeah, it's crazy how he did that. Like, I mean, he was there right to the end, you know, playing us all.
Fucking unbelievable! Like, he really is good.
He's just a little good, I think. Yeah, he was.
In my opinion, David Bowie is good. What's your level of Bowie fandom?
Well, my level isn't. I wouldn't say it's particularly deep. I mean, I have a period of Bowie that I really love, and that's the sort of 70s, really. A decade of Bowie, but I don't know. I obviously I dabble in all his other areas, but man, see, from 70, like the start of the 70s and the bleeding into the 80s, it was the time for me. Like.
I liked them right up to the end, but I think it's fair to say that from the 80s onwards, he wasn't exactly an album act.
Well, yeah, I'd agree there. Yeah, you can kind of dabble in and out of the albums after sort of mid 80s. Really, the 90s were a wee bit of a for me, like.
That he still did a lot of good zingles, as I say.
He did, yeah, of course.
When did you find him the most handsome?
I thought he was the most handsome. I'd say, the most handsome probably. I don't know, like early 2000s, perhaps. He got his teeth fixed and shit like that. But his coolest for me was kind of mid-70s when he was at the peak of his cocaine powers. For me, he was. Because he was just so, but it was crazy, like, you know, like that. Whenever he came out with the Thin White Duke sort of period, I thought he was so cool then, like, it was amazing.
Yeah, but did you ever see the video? I don't know if it's still online. It's backstage at some gig in Germany, or whatever, and the local news were filming backstage, and in the background, Bowie's taking coke off a knife.
Of course he was.
Yeah, he's got this enormous bag, like the biggest bag you've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
So, do you have your top 10 list there?
I do indeed. It's kind of, it's really hard, as we're saying. Like, I've kind of just whittled it down. I mean, fuck, you could pick so many, but yeah, I've got 10, and it'll probably change actually as I'm talking to you. But let's go anyway, you know.
Yeah, this is like I literally just changed my top one as we were talking.
Yeah.
So what have you got in there? And what's your number 10 there, son?
Number 10 is Correct Actor.
Oh,
from Aladdin scene. I just want to point out that I was looking at my list, and actually about 5 of them are from Aladdin scene. It's my favorite album. I don't know. It's so hard to pick, but yeah, number 10, Correct Actor. Yeah, it's great.
I've actually got one from Aladdin scene on my list.
Whoa! All right.
But in at number 10, and speaking of in the 90s era, this is a song from the 90s called Black Tie, White Noise.
Oh, yeah, good one.
And it's actually also from the album of the same name. And this was, I think, Bowie's last song that he did with Nile Rodgers.
Ah, okay.
So,
nice one.
It's kind of, the video for this is weirdly hilarious because it's meant to be about how Bowie is, you know, just exactly the same as a black man in the street, and in it, he's performing in the video with a rapper, a singer whose name is I'll Be Sure.
Wow.
And I'll Be Sure is all in like street gear, and Bowie's in this like bright green or bright blue suit, and for some reason he's holding a saxophone while they're dancing.
Wow.
But the song, I just absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's great. Really good.
What have ye got in at number 9?
Coming in at number 9, Golden Years.
Oh.
From Station to Station. Another great album. Really, there's only like 6. That's Golden Years was his. They were his golden years for me. Really. Boom, boom. 1976. At the peak of his coke fucking binging. Great. All good. Yeah, Golden Years, it's great. I love the riff at the start. I don't know. Yeah, it's just great. It's all good.
That song is something else. But though, the thing is, he gave up the coke in the 70s, but in the 80s he was drinking his arse off.
Really? Yeah.
Oh fuck! There's a video online.
Oh, was that the video that one of those videos that Buxton had at his show? When Bowie got on stage and he was totally pissed. Oh, on Soul Train or something, wasn't it?
Yeah. But there's a video online. You can find the Bowie. It was by MTV filmed him. He was on tour in Germany, and him and some other guy walking around Germany looking for a bar to get a couple of pints going. And Bowie's clearly already been drinking.
Wow.
And and he's just walking the streets, and there's hundreds of people following him, and he doesn't give 2 fucks. He's like, "Where can we get a beer?"
Amazing.
And at number 9, I'm going with Young Americans.
Cool.
interesting fact about this song, one of the people doing backing vocals, Luther Vandross.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. That's pretty cool, like.
This is another one of these ones. And also it's got that the little reference to the Beatles towards the end of it, you know, when they sing, I heard the news today.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Very cool, yeah.
This is one of these ones, because the thing about Bowie that I love, he couldn't dance, yet at the same time wouldn't stop dancing. And he helped able to make you dance.
John, I'm only dancing.
John, I'm only dancing. What have we got at number 8 there?
Number 8 there is Genie.
Yes.
Just, great riff, kind of, you know, the video was cool as well, you know. It's like, I think he wrote it originally maybe as like a piss take kind of thing. Because the model he was hanging about with is like like a French name. It was like a play on her name, Jean or something.
Mm.
That's why he came up with the song name. Yeah, it's just a great riff. Really kicks arse, pretty much.
And the video just goes to show you that how some stuff that was cool just fucking stays cool. We're like,
yeah.
When they're doing the studio section of the video, and Bowie's just standing there with his hands behind his back instead of miming along to playing the guitar.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that guy could fuck my mom and I wouldn't get.
Yeah.
Come on, if I fuck your mom, son. Like, Bowie, excellent. So I feel like, in at number 8, I'm going to go with Cat People Putting Out Fire from the Let's Dance album.
Very interesting. Okay.
And the thing about this is, I don't know what the definitive version of this song is, because there's kind of a version I like, sort of faster paced, but then there's the version that was used in Inglourious Bastards that was more heavier, so I think is the way we should describe it.
Right, okay, I didn't know that.
But I love this song, and another one by Nile Rodgers.
Great. What year was that from?
83.
83, yeah, okay.
From the Let's Dance album, yeah. From the and of course he played it on the Serious Moonlight tour, which ironically in November there's a big Bowie's 80s box set coming out.
Yeah.
It's gonna have a Glass Spider tour live album and a Serious Moonlight tour live album, and it's gonna get fucking bought.
The Glass Spider tour didn't go too well critically, sure didn't, I think.
Yeah, I don't really know why, because for me, like, I think seeing that live would have been amazing, but you know.
Yeah. Well, you
know. What have you got in at number 7?
Number 7, from a great album, Low, is Sound and Vision.
Oh my god, I fucking love that song.
Yeah, it's so great. Again, it just, you know, whenever the song just kicks off, it just sounds so fresh. Even now, I was listening to it again yesterday when I was putting this list together, and it's so good, like. And it again, his vocal is just like really on point as well. Low is a great album as well. It's a lot of Eno crazy sounds on that. Great.
But the thing about that Sound and Vision song I love is when it goes just the way, because in the version I've heard, it's got this really extended intro.
Yeah.
And then I can't even. How does the lyrics kick in? Does it go blue?
I wonder sometimes.
Oh yeah, the Sound and Vision, blue like nothing to say, nothing to do. The Sound and Vision. Oh my god, I love that song. Actually, I need to change this list already.
Yeah, you need to change it. Yeah, see, this is the problem. You've created a monster with this lists already.
But that's also a good example of why Bowie's live shows get heavily criticized a lot, because like the guy had what 4 decades of great albums and great songs, and like the guy can only do so much per night, and that even by the time of the 80s, he's gonna have to leave off at least 10 or 12 classics.
Yeah, of course. It's mad when you think about all the hits that he had, like mental.
Speaking of which, in at number 7, and this might be controversial, I'm going with Heroes.
Ooh, number 7, eh? That's pretty low. Not from low, but that's pretty low in the ranking. It's okay, cool.
That's
Fair
the thing,
enough.
'cause I mean, like, it's the song is brilliant, but it's a little over. Maybe not even overplayed, but it's just
I think it is overplayed. To be fair, it is like,
it's.
but I don't know.
Have you heard Oasis's version of it?
Yeah, yeah, it's good.
It's not brilliant, and it is a bit loud, but I love it. I mean, like, it's just the thing about this. And speaking of Heroes, pod, it's the the Buxton thing where he re-edited those 3 music videos to make one.
Yeah,
That was something else, and it's like such a dramatic song. And plus, the thing about Bowie songs, it's weird, is now that he's dead, it's actually changed the effect of a lot of his songs have.
yeah, yeah. Because you're like almost you never expect someone like him to actually be dead. It's kind of like fuck, he's actually not here anymore making music, and it hits you kind of like fuck, he was actually pretty good, as you say.
And, and he actually did become a hero.
I know what you mean.
Uh,
On the Heroes album cover, if you've noticed, it's in inverted commas, Heroes.
hmm.
He meant it as like kind of like a like ironic sort of thing, like as if like heroes really are we, or is it, or whatever.
Yeah, who do you think's better, David Bowie or Enrique Iglesias?
Well, I mean that's not spoil things for people. Our top 10 Enrique list next week.
Our top 4,000 Enrique songs?
Yeah. Fuck's sake.
What have they got at number 6 there?
Number 6, from Aladdin Scene, is Time. Kind of well, the reason I like Aladdin Scene probably is because it's the first Bowie album that I really like listened to like a lot when I maybe about 15 years ago when I started getting into him properly, and I just really got into that album. And it's different than Ziggy Stardust and all. It's a bit more like kind of lighthearted, and a lot more influences come in, like more like kind of they got kind of baroque sort of like plinky plonk piano kind of thing going on, and especially in this song, a lot of that goes on, and possibly one of the best lines in a pop song ever from this track. Uh, it's he flexes like a whore, falls wanking to the floor. I mean, that's amazing. Like,
We
so
don't
good.
get enough wanking in lyrics anymore.
No, definitely not. Like,
Speaking of lyrics and speaking of the 80s era and his drinking, my number 6 I'm going for is Fashion from the Scary Monsters album.
nice one.
And if you watch this music video, that is a guy who's had at least 10 vodkas.
Yeah. I can't remember the video actually.
Oh, it's basically just him and the band playing in this sort of room. They're trying to look all cool, and they do look cool, and he looks so pissed. But this song just shows you how much of a genius David Bowie is when it comes to the ending of it. Well, not even that. You get the intro, that sort of extended feedback, and then that bass of the.
Yeah.
Oh my god, there's a brand new dance and I don't know its name. Oh god.
Yeah.
But then when you get to the end of this song, who the fuck ever had the idea to start to phonetically say the words of a fa fashion la 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 la, and it's like this is amazing.
Yeah. I know, like, but that's what made him so good, and still, well, yeah, still makes him so good. His music lives on and all that. But like, he came up with stuff that you know, another artist couldn't get away with, but he got away with it because, you know, he did it fucking brilliantly, pretty much. A lot of this craziness, it just worked.
Listen to me, don't listen to me. Don't talk to me. Dance with me, don't dance with me, no. And then what does he say? Beep, beep.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, what else would he say?
what else? What else is there? You know, it's
Get out of the way, you stupid.
I've got an idea, Brian. I don't know if it'll work. I was thinking, beep beep. Ah, that's genius, David.
You gonna drink that?
Yeah.
What's your number 5?
Number 5 is Life on Mars.
Oh yes.
I kind of it's class. You know what? I just want.
That's a pretty controversial opinion there, Paul.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to put a song from Hunky Dory in the list. So Life on Mars is my favorite one from that, and yeah, just awesomeness. There's actually a class version of this. You probably seen there was a Bowie documentary like a couple of years ago, just after he died or whatever, and you know your man Rick Wakeman, he like plays like a piano version. It's probably on YouTube or something. It's like a real beautiful like version of this here. I think he might have helped him write it or something, or like some of the chords. You know, like it's just it's so good.
Do you think there's like a there's a modern equivalent of Bowie's or artistry, or whatever the fuck that word is?
Probably Enrique Iglesias, as you were saying. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, no. Seriously, I don't know. No, probably not. I mean, you can't really see, especially nowadays. Like, you can't really, you know, get away with things if you like. You can't have that mystique that Bowie had, or like any artist had back when he was starting out as well. Even up until, you know, the was it the next day or whatever? No way, like nobody knew he was recording that album. Like it was pretty much in secret. And then, well, somebody spilled the beans that he was recording, and then he had to like completely move it to a new studio, which is pretty cool. Like, and then he hit people with it, and it was, you know, it's great.
Is that a cat?
It is. That's my cat. Sorry. Yeah.
I'm allergic.
You might get something here. Yeah, that's right. She likes Bowie as well. She's called Zoe the cat. Actually, that's pretty interesting. No, she's not. It's called Luna.
So, you know, David Bowie actually called his son Zoe Boy.
Yeah.
What the fuck, like?
I know.
Only
he could get away with that.
At number 5, I'm going with Rebel Rebel.
Oh, nice.
One of the greatest intros to any song ever in history.
Yeah.
Which, frustratingly, as he went on over the years throughout the 80s and 90s and even in the 2000s, he dropped the intro to the song and played more than half of it quietly.
Right.
Which is just very irritating. I don't know why anyone would do that.
But, you know, he got away with it, didn't he?
He can get away with anything. But speaking of a modern day version of Bowie, I think, honestly, that would be Florence and the Machine.
Okay.
I think she's just a genius.
Yeah, she's okay.
And she dresses the same as him.
Well, yeah, there's that as well. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, yeah, I guess she's quite credible, and she's a shapeshifter in ways. Like,
I'd like to shift her some shapes.
Yeah.
Oh, nice arse, love. Let it spooky. What have we got at number 4?
Number 4 is from Ziggy Stardust, Lady Stardust. Yeah, it's my favorite song from Ziggy, probably. It's just class. Real like melancholic kind of nice piano going on. And the lyrics are cool as well. Just kind of Yeah, I love it. I can't really describe myself in this one. It's great.
My number 4 is, it's ironic because people talk about how bad the late 80s was for Bowie.
Mm.
And that album, what was the one, Never Let Me Down?
Right.
Was shite, but a single that came after that is this one, and I'm going with Absolute Beginners.
Oh yeah, that's good. Nice one.
It's just one of those epic. It's probably his best. Well, not his best ballad, but it's just one of these songs that it's kind of hard to turn off.
Is that a dog?
Yeah, it's just the porn that I'm watching on the side. Yeah, with Absolute Beginners, it's lyrically, it's definitely his best love song because you can actually understand what he's talking about.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
I absolutely love you, but I'm absolutely sad as long as we're together. Oh fuck! We should actually just do one day. It's a sing along episode. What have you got at number 3?
We're at number 3. This is my last one from Aladdin Sane. My favorite song from that album, "The Prettiest Star." It's it's a beautiful song. It's real kind of it's glamish, I suppose, but it's kind of got that he kind of brought like more like doo wop kind of like 50s-y kind of sounds into it, and like kind of like cookie stuff going on. It's just really cool track, and yeah, lovely, loving it.
God, it's you know what the real sad thing is that there's so many of his classics that he's never actually performed live or that were recorded live.
Yeah.
A lot of them are gone forever. But speaking of Aladdin Sane, and my number 3 comes from that album, and it's the only song that I've picked from that album, Lady Grinning Soul.
Oh, nice. You know what? It was penciled in to be one of my top ones, but it fell out of the top 10 altogether here.
This is definitely Bowie's sexiest song, and you know that when that song gets played, somebody's getting pregnant.
Yeah, it's pretty special, that track, like, for sure.
And also it's genius for like that piano intro and the way he's singing it like it's a old ballad, and oh my god.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's great. It's so good.
And you know what the sad thing is as well about Bowie is that apparently he had been in talks for live shows for the Black Star album before he found out he was terminal.
Wow, yeah.
And that is really sad. And we could have seen him live. Could
have seen him live. If that lollipop hadn't went in his eye as well. He was supposed to play at Oxygen, or was it Witness back then? I don't know. Remember that fest in Dublin?
Oh yeah.
But he was meant to play, but obviously the old Chubba Chops went in his eye, and then he couldn't perform. And then stepping in to his massive shoes were the Darkness, of course.
Fucking hell.
So I think they might have been on the bill anyway. They just stepped up the headliner.
So I would have fucking walked home.
So we got the Darkness instead of David.
Yeah. It's Darkness. What's your number 2 on the all-time list?
Number 2, I have. It was hard to pick, but it's already been mentioned by yourself. Heroes. It is one of my favorite Bowie songs because it's just everything about it, the production, the feeling in it, the lyrics are good. You know what I mean? He just it ticks a lot of boxes for me. This one, like, and it really sort of captures. It's a moody song, but it's uplifting as well. You know, and it's really great.
And the thing is, what's weird about this song is because he died in January, wasn't
it? Yes, January, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, the Limelight had started doing this thing where because Bowie's birthday is in the middle of mid to late January, or maybe it's February, I don't know.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
But they'd started doing this thing before he died were in the limelight, they would have this Bowie tribute act playing, and it was just fucking brilliant. And still do it every year. And look, obviously him dying in January, and then this having the Bowie night in early February, and the way people were drunk and pissed and all, and then they started playing Heroes. It was quite a teary-eyed moment for the chaps.
Wow, yeah, sure it was. Yeah.
My number 2, Let's Dance.
Let's.
We shouldn't we?
We should.
It's just everything I love about this song is that it's not like building up into like you walked into the room one day, you know. It's just literally the first lyric of the song is "Let's dance."
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, okay, I will dance.
No fucking about with our David there, and also in this video, he looks remarkably healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a spray tan or something.
And also, it's because he'd been on the piss so much that he started gaining weight.
Jaundice. He just had jaundice, perhaps, and made his skin glow a healthy piss yellow color.
Probably, and plus he was having sex with a lot of black women at the time.
Right. Okay.
See if you get the chance. In fact, do you have your phone on you right now?
Yeah.
Google David Bowie on a yacht, and will you see the picture that comes up?
Okay.
It's going to entertain.
Okay. Oh, there he is.
He's having a good time, isn't he?
He is. I don't know. What do you think of my new yacht, Tony?
You want to suck this? Or in our love, it's like, in our love, it's not going to suck itself, you know? But yeah, like especially, is it the one in the 80s and he's standing there in like a thong and he's with some black woman?
Oh, yeah.
And his package is showing.
It was all out there.
So what is your
number
one of all time?
This all time this week, anyway, or today, all time today. No, I don't know. Number 1, Station to Station. Interesting. I don't know. I picked this one because it was always probably gonna. It is one of my favorite Bowie tracks. It's kind of like a slow burning start, and then it has like loads of different parts to it. It kind of starts off like kind of grinding, kind of mechanical kind of sound, and then it goes into like a kind of a wee breakdown part, and then at the end it kind of goes into like a funky kind of free for all kind of, you know, stuff. And it's actually a real surprise that he made this song on album, because that was kind of in the height of his cocaine kind of addiction, like in the mid-70s. But I suppose the album's only got 6 tracks on it, so he probably couldn't do any more. But it's just like,
because he snorted the other 3.
Yeah. No, it's so good. Love it. And yeah, it sounds really class live as well. There's a couple of really good live versions of it, like, and he was always really good at picking, you know, musicians for his backing bands as well, you know, and he knew what he wanted.
My number 1 David Bowie song, and this just shows you how many great songs he had. This wasn't even on my list yesterday.
Yeah.
And since yesterday, it's not only gone on the list, it's actually become the new number 1. From the rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders of Mars album, I'm going with Moon Age Daydream.
Nice.
And honestly, in the past 24 hours, I think I've played this maybe 40 times.
I'm an alligator.
I'm an elevator for you. What the fuck does that mean?
Doesn't matter what it means. It means pure gold, David.
But it's just
that. Good shout.
But it's just that thing at the end when he goes. It's before the final guitar solo, and he goes, "Keep your electric eyes on me, baby."
Yeah.
Oh my! And I've got to admit, I had never heard of this song before until maybe 4 years ago when Guardians of the Galaxy 1 came out.
Oh, right, okay.
And since then, it just came on my radar, and it's now my current favorite David Bowie song. And I don't know why it wasn't already on the list, but that's just Bowie. And the thing, it's amazing. The fact that we both were sort of into the same music, and only once did the songs cross over.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Like, I definitely thought there would be more than that, but yeah, it just shows you the range, the wide range of his music. But that's the thing about Bowie. He means different things to everyone. You know, it's like I have my favorite period. You have your favorite period of his music, probably. Like, you know, his music sort of to sound kind of cheesy. It sort of touches everyone in a different way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I think my favorite period actually was the 80s for Bowie.
Yeah.
Maybe not album wise, but singles wise. I just think, like, is it even the stuff off that album tonight, like Loving the Alien, I really liked, and Blue Jean, I really liked.
Yeah, Blue Jean's a great track.
Yeah.
I mean, there's loads of tracks. I mean, like I was listening to Low again yesterday, and it's like really, it's just kind of really understated. There's a lot of like instrumental tracks in that and all, but there's a class song. What do you call it? You can cut this. Actually, I forget the name of it, but there's loads of class tracks in that as well. But yeah, there was other ones that I cut from the list that could have been in there. If we did this again tomorrow, they might be in the list. You know, like all that sort of shit goes on.
This is why I get so annoyed at modern music fans. Because see if somebody says, "Oh, Ed Sheeran's a genius," you go, "No, he's fucking not. Shut your fucking mouth."
Yeah.
Like, what's genius about him? It's the same fucking ginger bollock song over and over again.
You know, people lose their shit because it's like a young, unattractive man with tattoos and ginger hair, and he plays a guitar and he writes his own songs. Yeah, great, well done.
His fucking songs sound like most demos from most bands. I think he is awful, and that's not because the thing. It actually annoys me that I don't like it because he won't fuck off.
Hopefully he fucks off sometime soon, but I can't see it. Yeah, I can't see it happening. I don't understand how he's like astronomically popular. What the fuck? Like, I don't get it. We're not supposed to get it though, are we? Really?
But I can admit when like pop music, like I think that Lady Gaga has got loads of brilliant songs.
Yeah, she's great.
And I really like Rihanna.
Yeah.
And Justin Timberlake, I think nearly every single of his I've heard I really like. But no, there's no geniuses left.
Not we're running thin on the genius. Genii. I
mean, even fucking Kasabian, I love Serge, but he's getting to this point where it's kind of like he's basically writing the same song over and over again.
Yeah. You don't want to go into like, you know, that realm. Like, although on the subject of like kind of self parody, almost like Bowie was really good at that. You know, like referencing his old tracks in newer songs and stuff. You know. Even, like you're talking about the Lazarus video earlier, you know, like that was kind of referencing, you know, his earlier work and stuff, and then kind of, you know, scuttling back into the closet at the end of the video and shit, you know.
And that's actually a good thing to end on, is that when he went back into the closet at the end of that video, do you think that was Bowie maybe saying that he was gay?
Possibly. You could think, you know, that's what he was so good at, kind of even to the end, you know, like people second guessing stuff and, you know, all that sort of stuff. You know, he's really good at that.
And plus, like, if I had a wife that looked like a man, he married a woman who's a man. I want to have sex with a man. Well, she's over there. That's not what I meant, but okay, nice ass. And plus, So David Bowie got married to and had a kid with a man.
Yeah.
I think we'll end it on that one, yeah.
Yeah, we'll end there.
No problem, Paul. This will probably be up next week. And
with our Enrique top 10, yeah.
Enrique top 70. Brad, hello. Hey, Brad, thank you for coming on again for the third time.
Yes, I want to be the most frequent guest on the show. That's my goal. I think I'm doing well.
Well, actually, you're definitely one of the ones I love talking to the most because I've been locked in this feud with Disco Inferno.
Yes.
Because they keep shouting me out on the Keeping It 100 podcast, but that handsome fool won't come on the show for 20 minutes.
Why would he do it? Disco's a good guy. Gil's a good guy. He needs to just buckle down, knuckle up, and come do it.
Exactly, and I think the problem is Disco Inferno is afraid that I'm going to ask him the question that will change podcasting forever.
What question might that be?
Oh, I can't say it until he's there.
You can't say it right now? Okay. You're saving it. I understand. You're saving it.
It'll change the business like never before. But since the last time we've spoke, Brad, there's been a couple of things happening in the wrestling world I'd love to hear your take on. On Raw, about maybe 3-4 weeks ago, there was a match. It was the Bellas against the Riot Squad. And Brie Bella accidentally connected with Liv Morgan's face for the kick, knocked her out. And the way that happened, the internet reacted as if Brie Bella went into the ring with a knife and stabbed her.
Yeah.
And my whole question is really, and I know this is going to come across as sexist, but do you think it's because of the way Brie Bella looks that's why such an outrage was made?
I think that in part, absolutely. I think that the Bellas get a bad rap because they're seen as these divas from another era, and I use the term diva as them coming up in the diva era. And I think that a lot of times they just get a bad rap when they don't deserve it. When the women's revolution or the divas evolution or whichever you want to call it, it started with the Bellas in the ring. It was the match that they were in that was cut short to 30 seconds on Raw, where the hashtag started trending, give divas a chance. So, yeah, I think the Bellas do get a bad rap, and I think it's in part because obviously they're, beautiful women, and they do a reality show, and they have other outside interests other than just inside the ring, and I think they get a bad rap because of that. Now, what happens, I don't want to say all the time, but it happens frequently. This is not ballet. It is a choreographed, pre-planned sport, absolutely. But mistakes happen. Issues will happen. I've seen a girl break her arm in the middle of a match on accident, but continue the match. It's just what's done. Sometimes it occurs. I go back to Seth Rollins. We remember Seth Rollins, separated Finn Balor's shoulder. He broke John Cena's nose. He ended Sting's career. But, we don't hold it against him because we know it wasn't out of malice. It wasn't out of contempt. It wasn't done on purpose. It wasn't even done. It was an accident. I guess is what I'm trying to say. It was an accident. Accidents happen. Brie Bella kicked Liv Morgan in the face. Accidents happen. I'm glad that Liv's okay and has been cleared to wrestle. I'm glad that they made light of it on television. And I'm glad that we're moving past it. But that whole incident was so absolutely, utterly ridiculous. And the amount of flack that Brie Bella got was so unjust, was so over the top. I couldn't believe it. And I'm a big Bella fan. I'm a fan of Brie. I love the Bella twins. I think they bring an enormous amount to pro wrestling and to the WWE. And they help with bringing outside eyes onto the WWE. So I think that the feedback she got or the flack on social media she got was completely ridiculous.
And plus, I thought it was such selective criticism considering that I think it was the next night on SmackDown or the following week on SmackDown, Daniel Bryan was wrestling Shelton Benjamin, and he went for like a top rope splash or a diving headbutt, and he accidentally connected heads and with Benjamin, and nobody said anything.
No. No, because in the fans' minds, and I love Daniel Bryan. We had him on heated conversation just a couple weeks ago. But he's built up equity in the fan base, and he comes from the indie scene, and he's looked at in a different light. People view him through rose-colored glasses, the same way they view the Bella Twins, but they just, a lot of the times with pro wrestling and life in general, it's all a Rorschach test, and it's all what you choose to see, not what's really there, right? And I think that happens with wrestling fans. People who they deem as high work rate people, or people who, quote unquote, paid their dues or come from the indie scene, they tend to be more lenient. And I want to say wrestling fans, I guess I mean the vocal minority. They tend to be more lenient toward those guys and girls, as opposed to someone like the Bella Twins or even someone like Roman Reigns, people who came in through the system and not, through the indies, and aren't seen as high work rate, just seen as entertainers. I think that exists in pro wrestling with the pro wrestling fans. And when I say the vocal minority, I mean the people who complain online. I mean, that's who we're really talking about. And I think it's biased. I think it's hypocritical. I think it's in part sexist. I wouldn't say that that's the total degree of it, but I think in part it is. And it's really just Bella hate. And that's why I'm glad that the Bella-lution is in full effect.
I fucking love the Bellas. I watched Total Divas.
Look, what is not to cut you off, what is not to like about the Bella Twins? That's what I want someone to point out, because Nikki's actually a very good wrestler. She's a good storyteller in the ring. A Hall of Famer named Booker T actually said that on our radio show. I don't think he would say it just to say it. Many others echo his same sentiments. Brie, I don't find her to be as good as Nikki, but I find her to be good in the ring and better than some of the other women on the roster. And they have that. They have an in-ring acumen. They bring in outside eyeballs through Total Bellas and Total Divas, and they're not bad, to have to spend 15 minutes of a match watching them, because as I said, and I mean this in the most respectful way possible, they are drop dead gorgeous women. So I don't see the downside to the Bella Twins.
And not only that, they sell a shitload of merchandise.
Hell yeah, I buy their merchandise. I'm a Bella mark. I have no ifs, ands, or buts about. I am a Bella mark. I love the Bella Twins.
And I just like to take this opportunity to say, Nikki, I don't care that you're single now. Stop DMing me. Stop texting me. I'm not interested.
She did that to you too?
Oh, what?
No. Oh, hold on now.
But speaking of sexy people, Shawn Michaels is back.
Yes.
And the theory is that, well, not theory, the feeling is that although he's coming back for Crown Jewel, he's also going to be staying until WrestleMania 35. Now, this has also made a lot of criticism online, which I think is a load of shit, because I think it's only criticism because he's coming back to WWE. But if he was coming back for All In 2 or the New Japan, everyone would be thinking this is incredible.
I haven't heard that take, to be honest with you, but I 100% agree with you. I mean, if this was done on some other level, it'd be met with a lot of fanfare. But I don't want to sit here and act like it's not being well received by a lot of people. A lot of people are very excited that Shawn Michaels is coming back. I think some people recently, especially given the main event at Super Showdown, they're like, oh, all these old guys and girls on the show, all these old people. I mean, come on, let the new generation come through. Well, I'm sorry. These are the same people who just 2 years ago were begging for AJ Styles versus Shawn Michaels at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas at the Royal Rumble. These are the same exact people. But because Shawn's coming back for a crown jewel where he's probably going to get a 7-figure payday for his comeback, people have a problem with it because it doesn't sit well with their politics. I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't give a damn. See Shawn Michaels back in a WWE ring. When I was a kid, he was my favorite wrestler. I love Shawn Michaels. So to see him back, even though he's bald now, and that's a little strange to see the Heartbreak Kid, who's widely regarded as the greatest in-ring wrestler of all time. I think most people agree with that. Some people are putting AJ Styles up there, and I think that when his career is all said and done, that's a debate that we can have. But overall, people agree that Shawn Michaels is the greatest in-ring performer of all time. So if you, the fans, are complaining about a legend who you propped up 2 years ago to face AJ Styles, who you consider to be one of the greatest in-ring wrestlers of all time, which is what a lot of these vocal minority fans love. They love the high work rate guys. If y'all are complaining about that, then my hypothesis has been proven that you will complain about anything and everything. And as long as we are operating under that assumption, I am no longer going to get triggered by these fans who complain about seemingly everything.
But would you agree, though, that as brilliant as Shawn Michaels is, that maybe part-timers shouldn't headline these events? Like I think the Showdown main event would have got a lot more positive review if it was in the middle of the card and not the final match.
I think there's truth to that, and I think that, you know, and I might agree with that. I might agree with I don't have any problem with the matches at all. I have no problem with them having matches, like most people do. I mean, once again, Triple H has been a great wrestler for the last 20 years, and he's not even dipped down a little bit in quality, and then people are now throwing him in an old guy bin when he's been wrestling every single year consistently. But I agree with that. You know, I think they would be met with less criticism if it wasn't the primary focus, if it was kind of an auxiliary storyline going around a WWE or Universal title. And I get that. And that criticism, I believe, is valid. I believe that's valid. I don't believe, though, that if you're a fan and you complain about the 3-hour Raw, right, and you're like, the show's too long, they don't have enough power to last 3 hours, and then they bring back names from the past to help fill some time on the show with these, like I said, these auxiliary storylines, I don't see why you would complain about that. So I think that, yeah, if they put them somewhere else in the card, perhaps that would help ease some of the backlash online. But again, I really think people are going to complain.
And plus, the fact is, Shawn Michaels is, as you say, he's going to make 7 figures from this. Who's the IWC to tell Shawn Michaels, oh, never mind your family and your house and your bills, turn down this 7 to 8 figure salary just so that a wrestler can enjoy your match on the network?
Right. Yeah. That's to me, a lot of the complaints coming out of the Saudi show, and I understand some of the politics behind it and some of the views on women. I'm not educated enough on that region of the world to give you an educated answer, an astute answer as to if it's morally right or not for the WWE to go over there. But I said this on my show, the Brad Gilmore show. I said, you know, the WWE is a business first and foremost. They're not a political action committee. They're not a human rights group. They're not, you know, an animal shelter. They're a business, and they're a for-profit business. And if you're a publicly traded company and you come to your stockholders and say, hey, we're going to get paid $40 million to do this show, or we have an offer for $40 million to do one show in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and they're talking about paying us $1 billion over 10 years to do 1 or 2 shows a year. You come to your stockholders and you tell them that offer's on the table, and then you say, I'm not going to take it because of political reasons. Your stock is going to plummet. Your stock will plummet. There will be a fire sale for the WWE. So people who are upset about them going over, although some of their criticisms are grounded in reality, at the same time, WWE is a business. At the same time, Shawn Michaels is in his early 50s, and I'm sure could use $1 million, like we all could. And I don't think that we as fans, even though we love the way that he went out and he was the one guy who stuck to his retirement, well, guess what? Nothing lasts forever, and we only have one Shawn Michaels for an entire lifetime. So if he wants to come back and wrestle and he believes that he can come back at a high level, I'm up for it.
And I'd just like to take this time to say to Nikki Bella, stop offering me 7-figure money to go out and one more date with you. I'm just not interested.
Pass that along.
Yeah. But as we speak about WrestleMania, there's a match I want to pitch to you that I forgot to pitch this to you the last time we spoke about WrestleMania. And I do think this would be huge. Right, so in history, we've never had a black WWE champion. So a match I'd love to see is a WrestleMania, and I don't know how they go about doing this. If the title was vacant, and then we could have Kofi Kingston versus Xavier Woods versus Big E in a three-way match, and the winner would get the WWE Championship. Now think about that, because not only is this going to be the first time one of these guys is going to be champion, it's going to be New Day versus itself, and on top of this, history's going to get made. Like, whoever wins this match, it's going to be history.
I like that idea a lot. I mean, I don't know if they do it at WrestleMania, but I like the prospect of a three-way championship match for the vacant WWE title, a triple threat with New Day. I do like that. It is funny though, and I understand that technically speaking, I guess a African American has never held the WWE Championship proper. There's a lot of criticism about or debate about, does The Rock count? And if he doesn't count, okay, even though he's half black, that's like saying to me in the United States, well, Barack Obama, he's half white, so he's not really the first black president. You know, I don't really think, as they say in the South, I don't think that dog don't hunt. But I think that Booker was the first black world champion in WWE history. Mark Henry held the World Heavyweight Championship as well. And had the WWE title been on SmackDown, we would have had a quote-unquote black world WWE champion. It just so happened the World Championship was on SmackDown and the WWE title was on Raw. Well, now the WWE title's on SmackDown, the Universal title's on Raw. I mean, what's in a name, really? I think the recognition of a world champion, whether it be the World Heavyweight title back in the day or the WWE title, the distinction, I just think one has three letters in front of it, the other one doesn't. I think that they symbolize the same thing. They symbolize excellence. They symbolize you're the top guy at that time in the business, and the company is trusting in you with all the responsibilities that come with being a world champion. So I understand that there hasn't been a quote-unquote black world champion, and if some people still hold on to that, I think that that's 100% okay, and I don't have anything wrong with that. I see it a little bit differently. I think Booker was the first full African-American world champion in WWE history, and I think The Rock should get the credit where credit is due. Not only was he the first black, at least in part, person to win the world championship, he's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, and he's one of the biggest stars in the world right now. And so I like your idea, though, to circle back, to come full circle. I love your idea about the New Day triple threat for the title, because I've turned a corner on the New Day recently. I loved them when they first started. I grew a little bit, just kind of complacent with them. And then I think recently they've kicked it into another gear, a higher gear, and they're just completely killing it right now on SmackDown, having some of the best matches on any pay-per-view card there is. So I really love the New Day.
But I do think with the New Day gimmick, I think it's best. It's always best to end the gimmick before the fans end it for you.
Right.
And
I agree.
Speaking of WrestleMania, there's another match that I think could be a big deal, and I'm predicting. It's because everyone's talking about how Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey's going to be possibly the main event.
I could see it happening.
I think the other women's title match is going to be, and I just get this feeling, it's going to be Becky Lynch versus Sonya Deville.
Versus Sonya Deville.
And I honestly I think Sonya Deville has that X factor. It's just going to make her one of the next huge names in the business.
I haven't gotten to see a lot of Sonya. I'd like to see more. And I know she's over there on SmackDown with Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose, who I think is a future women's champion, absolutely as well. I think they actually both need to be back on Raw, if you want my personal opinion. I think they're more of a Raw talent than they are a SmackDown talent. But I think that Sonya's got a lot going for her. I know she's got an MMA background. I know that she sat under the learning tree, albeit for a brief time, of Booker T. Huffman. And I think that anybody who is willing to soak up as much information as possible about this business has a shot in it, and she obviously has a passion. I would like to see how they'd get there, depend on the storyline for me, on how they'd get me excited in a Sonya Deville-Becky Lynch match. But here's the thing. I'm up for anything. I'm not one of these people who try to sit there and plan out where they're going and think ahead. I watch the show for what it is, and then I get my opinion. I don't want to pontificate on things that I'm not being shown, because it's the analogy I use all the time. It's the Seinfeld finale, and I'm sure I've used it on this show, but I think it's the best. It's the best analogy. If everyone had an idea of what they wanted the finale to be, so they were upset when they saw what the finale was, instead of just taking it and then processing it thereafter. So I think that Becky is very talented. I think she's been killing it in her recent role. I'm glad she's the champ, and we'll see where the women's title ends up come WrestleMania time for the SmackDown.
And Sonya Deville is definitely not one of those women who's been DMing me.
Well, I think that might be for different reasons that I'm not going to comment on.
She's a fucking gorgeous woman, though, Sonya. Anytime.
She's very beautiful. Yeah.
But speaking of the women, what's your take on the build to the Evolution pay-per-view?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that in part they've done it well, and in part they've dropped the ball. I think that a more rounded out card at this point would be better. I'd like to see a more rounded out card, but they're making things happen. I love the main event. I know people probably hate it, but I love the main event. Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella. You have the two biggest stars in the division right now going at it in the main event of the first women's pay-per-view. I think that's a big deal. I'd actually like to see Brie Bella versus Liv Morgan in a grudge match, one-on-one. I hope they make that match. The tag match with Lita and Trish, and then Nikki and Alexa. Alexa, that's going to be a great opportunity for her to learn a lot, because she's got 3 veterans in there who can really show her the ropes and improve her game. So I like that match. And that's all I really know right now. I think they could be doing more with it, but I think right now they're juggling like 3 balls in the air. I mean, they just had the Super Showdown. Now they're going full force towards Saudi Arabia. And then they got this women's show. And I think that, they're trying to make it all balance out.
For me personally, I would have gone with Becky Lynch versus Lita. I mean, they're this close to having that match. That would be the match I'd go for.
I'd want to see Sasha versus Trish, but I think Sasha's out on the DL right now, on the injured reserve. So I don't know really what's going on with her, but I hope that she has a presence at Evolution. It'd be a shame if she didn't.
I just can't believe that Bayley's going into Evolution with no storyline. I remember when I seen her in NXT, I thought, she is making me a mark. I'm going to dress like her for Halloween. This is amazing. And they've completely dropped the ball with her.
Some of those NXT characters need to be tweaked a little roster. And I think that Bayley, I don't know. I think that we thought it would work on a bigger scale. And I just don't know that it has. And I don't know if that's a booking issue. I don't know what it is. Because I know certain things work in Full Sail that don't work on the main roster. So, and for whatever reason that is, it is. But I hope that Bayley is obviously on the card as well. And I can't imagine that she wouldn't be. That would be completely shocking to me. And maybe if Sasha's healed up in time, we can have the first match between the two of them, or like, a proper match between the two of them, to kind of just out of respect, I guess. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. I'm excited for the women's show though, regardless. And we'll see what happens with it. I think they could be doing a little bit more, but like I said, they're juggling so much in the air at once.
And just as we're beginning to wrap up here, I have a final question for you about MMA. Right. The UFC last week was a very sad event for the Irish.
Yes, it was.
There's no denying that McGregor got his arse kicked. Like, that's just what happened. But do you think, the question I would ask is, do you think Conor McGregor's too rich to give a shit anymore?
Well, that's an interesting statement. I think that in part, when you have $100 million in the bank, you might not have a certain fire in your belly. And as weird as it sounds, I think Conor McGregor, in part, is kind of glad that he lost. And I say that because it takes an enormous amount of pressure off of him, right, to hold the weight of the MMA world in his shoulders and all these expectations. But also, it gives him motivation. We saw what happened when he lost to Nate Diaz. The first thing that he said was, I want a rematch. He trained hard. He learned from his first fight, and he beat Nate Diaz. I think that so far we've seen the same thing. He lost to Khabib, although one thing that the Irish, and of course, like I've said before, my family comes from Ireland. The one thing that we can hold our hat on is that Conor McGregor was the first man to ever win a round on Khabib Nurmagomedov. He won that third round by all accounts. And so at least he has that to hold his hat on. But I think that he comes back. He's already asked for that rematch. And I think that if they do it, which I can't see that they won't. I mean, depending on what happens with Khabib, what you could have, and I've theorized about this, is if Khabib gets suspended for a year, Dana's got to strip him of the title. If he strips him of the title, well, how about you have two former UFC lightweight champions go at it, but also it could be the third fight in a trilogy. You have Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor to crown the lightweight champion of the world, and then the winner of that, which could be Conor, goes and faces Khabib Nurmagomedov for the undisputed lightweight championship. You know, this is my wrestling mind at work, obviously, but I think that in the long run, Conor McGregor is still the big. I mean, here's the thing: Conor woke up Sunday morning, still the biggest star in MMA history. Conor woke up Sunday morning, still the biggest star in the company today. Does he have a little bit of the shine off of him? Maybe a little bit. But what I love about Conor McGregor is that he'll take as he calls it, a knock. He'll take a knock, and he'll get right back up the next day. He'll respect that man and say, "Hey, man, let's do it again." And I respect that. I'm a Conor McGregor fan. I like Conor. Booker's not so high on Conor McGregor, and when I get done with this interview, we're going to be going to tape Heated Conversations this week, and I'm sure it's going to be a very hot one because we watched that fight together, and we had different takes on the outcome of that fight and what happened in the brawl afterwards. So I'm excited to talk to Book about it this week, but I think Conor's going to do great. I think he's going to come back. I think he's going to be still the biggest star in MMA history. And I'm looking forward to it, to the next fight that he has.
I love how down to earth you are. You're like, oh, I watched UFC with Booker T. You know what I did at the weekend? I stayed in and made 2 egg sandwiches because I just learned how to make egg salad.
Hey, man, we all have our thing in life. Yours is the eggs. Mine's watching fights with a Hall of Famer.
But with I suppose I do have the Nikki Bella stuff. But
hey, yeah. Well, there's that too. So you got something going for you.
But yeah, with McGregor, I think that whenever if he fights again, which I'm sure he will, I think this is it for him because that Proper 12 whiskey has sold a shitload, and he's got a second kid coming with his wife or fiance or whatever. And there's talk that he's having his own spin-off video game made. So like he really doesn't need the UFC.
He doesn't need it, but I think that he loves it, and I think that's what I love about Conor is he actually has a passion for what he does.
And plus, Vin Diesel loves casting bad athletes in his films to beat them up. So,
hey, I wouldn't call Conor a bad actor. I don't know. I think that he's got the charisma. He's got charisma like The Rock. We talk about Ronda Rousey. She's probably not the greatest actress in the world, but she didn't have the charisma of a Conor McGregor. And very few people do. So he might not do so bad in movies.
Maybe he'd be the villain in Mission Impossible 7 because, Mission 6 started off with set in Belfast.
Right. There you go. Hey, you never know. I'm for Conor. I'm a fan of Conor. That doesn't mean I co-sign everything that he does. That doesn't mean I like the Dolly incident. That doesn't mean I like, some of the religious things that he did, attacks that he did. But I like Conor McGregor.
I love him, and I want to meet him, and I want to get fat with him. And I actually, Conor, if you're watching, you can DM me. Me and you will go out with Nikki Bella tonight.
Okay, there you go. Hey, sounds like a hot time in the old town tonight.
Now, before we get to the Suttering John interview, I've got to point out one thing. Those who may or may not know, at the time of recording this last week, I was going through a serious back injury. I've had this recurring thing where I get a prolapsed disc in my back. It means that I literally can't stand up straight or walk properly for nearly a week, sometimes up to 10 days, sometimes 2 weeks. It happens once a year. Unfortunately, I was injured at the time of this interview, so I had to take these pretty strong painkillers, prescribed, of course, not black market stuff. And during the middle of this interview, and I'm sure you could, you'll be able to point it out yourself. Let's just say my medication kicked in, and I started getting very drowsy. Wasn't 100% myself. So if you're wondering why the Stuttering John interview is so short, it's because, frankly, I was getting wasted and I needed to go lie down in the dark room because my back and pills. That being said, got to interview Stuttering John. He was very funny. I'm hoping he's coming back on later on down the line when I'm not in complete agony. So, Stuttering John, hello.
Hey, man.
How are you? Can you understand my accent okay?
Yeah.
Good, because there's sometimes when I'm recording, I don't know what I'm saying.
Nah, it's okay, brother. So you're in Ireland right now?
Yeah, Belfast, Ireland.
All right. So I'm ready, bro.
So if this interview doesn't go well, I'll have you shot. So just a few quick questions. I'll not take up too much of your time, but let me ask you, because you're obviously you're a comedian. So is it tough being a comedian these days in these insanely politically correct, highly offended times?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that on my podcast, the Stuttering John podcast, which all your people in Ireland should check out. That's where I prank called the president, and I got in touch with President Trump on Air Force One as I disguised myself as Senator Bob Menendez, which is crazy that I got through to President Trump. He's such an idiot because, I mean, I don't sound senatorial. I sound janitorial. But but as far as, yeah, comedy's very tough. In fact, I tweeted recently, like I just did my whole podcast talking about, not the whole thing, but talking about the bad and good of political correctness. And it sucks because I made a joke. I'm Hispanic, right? So I made a joke saying I flew Air Mexico and I knew I should have been worried when I saw the jumper cables out front. I said it was there were 400 people, all one family, and everybody was given that. Everybody was doing the Hail Mary, including the pilot. I got tweets saying that I'm a racist. I'm like, I'm Hispanic. If I can't make fun of my own fucking people, then who can I make fun of? But that's the problem. I mean, you can't say shit anymore. Put it this way, I used to do a joke on stage, and I asked my African-American friend if this was a racist joke. He said, no, it's funny. If I would talk to a black guy in the crowd, I would say, hey, what's your name? And he would say his name. I'd say, speak up, pretend it's a movie theater. But you can't do that anymore. So I stopped doing that in my act because it's crazy. Like, stand-up should be a sanctuary. The comedy stage should be a sanctuary where you could, where you could bend the political correctness line a little bit. But unfortunately, it's gotten so crazy. And look, I'm a liberal, but even as a liberal, it's gotten so crazy that we're getting too politically correct in this country and globally as well.
And I'd be exactly the same. Like, I would call myself liberal, but if we can't laugh at a good racist joke or a joke about when it's actually funny, what can we do? It's Christmas time.
Exactly, and that's the problem. So, yeah, I think it's got to change because Sam Kinison, Andrew Dice Clay, they can never do their acts as they used to anymore.
But Dice can't even do his act these days because you see him being interviewed and he's going like, hey, so I was reading a book about feminism and it was fucking good over here.
Nice impression there, man. And I like your t-shirt. It's one of my favorite movies. Hey, Adrian. Adrian. Hey, it sucks, Mick. It sucks. I just want to say I love you, Adrian. And to my kids, probably stay up too late to watch. You should be in bed, I love you.
You know the key to doing a Stallone impression is, the way sometimes people do a fake burp, like, oh. Just start talking like, oh. I hope you're dead, But let me ask you: is it tough being a podcaster these days? Because I'm like a very fresh, upstarting one, and it's fucking tough. Like I can't even get my dumb friends to come on it sometimes.
Well, I mean, how many people are watching this besides your mother?
2 of her boyfriends.
Have you been to the States?
Once, but I get kicked out for dropping the N-word on the plane.
Oh, jeez.
I said nigglets because they call them twiglets over there, you know.
Wow, and they kicked you off the plane.
No, it didn't happen. I'm a liar for attention.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have a lot of Irish friends. I hang out at an English pub, a Pickwick's pub here in California, in Woodland Hills, and a couple of my friends over there are Irish. And you know, one of them, this guy's name is Alan Shields. His accent is so bad. After a few beers, it's like he's speaking Swahili. I have no idea what the fuck he's saying.
But that's actually the greatest gift that Conor McGregor gave Ireland. Is that he's made it easier for non-Irish people to understand what the fuck we're saying.
So is it true about the Irish guys? Are you guys hung like jalapenos?
Well, I'm hung like a jalapeno if jalapenos are fucking massive over here.
Hey, I'm hung like a fucking thermos.
Hey,
My dick has a dick.
my fucking cock looks like the Pink Panther's tail with a fucking purple globe on the end of it over here.
I need a dolly for my balls.
Godzilla's tail pretends to be my dick. Speaking of massive dicks, do you think that Howard Stern fears his ex-staff?
Well, being that I have a book coming out, as you know, there is a reason why I'm doing this. Besides the fact that you're a charming bloke, if you will. But I have a book coming out called Easy for You to Say, which I hope you go and buy. It's on Amazon.com. And, anybody in Europe would love it. It's all the behind the scenes of working for Howard Stern and behind the scenes of working for Jay Leno. Because I was the announcer on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, believe it or not. I don't know if you know that. They actually hired a stutterer to be their announcer. That's like entrusting Charlie Sheen with your Coke. but
that's like asking Jay Leno to tell jokes, fuck's sake.
but Howard, he could be a great guy, but he could be a complete asshole. And I think he's got to deal with, the truth about himself. Hopefully with all these books coming out, Jackie the Joke Man just wrote one. KC's got one coming out, and mine's coming out. It's kind of, it says that, although he gave us our start, which we are very grateful for, he was also, him and Don Buchwald, who I can't stand, his agent, we're very manipulative and deceiving. And, so the truth will come out. But I don't only trash Howard in this book. I trash Chelsea Handler, who's a complete bitch, Jimmy Kimmel. The list goes on. I don't stop at anything. Everyone gets fucking thrown under the bus in my book. As once the agent to the manager of Ray Romano once said, "John, you're a professional asshole," and I am.
I'm sorry, it's just because I grew up watching all like these films and stuff of like New Yorkers, and anytime somebody swears in that accent, I'm fucking cracking up. Like a guy from New York could say "fuck" at my mum's funeral, and I'd die laughing. Speaking of New Yorkers that swear, and not to stir the shit, but what's the latest feeling with you and Artie Lange?
Well, I have a chapter in my book about Artie. It's called Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde the Heroine. And Artie's a great guy, but then when he does heroin, he becomes a complete asshole. And, I also throw Baba Booey under the bus, too. That fucking guy. You ever see the size of that guy's teeth? He's the only kid whose tooth fairy showed up with a wheelbarrow.
The film on his teeth is also the film used to show IMAX films.
Yeah, he's yeah. Fucking, I don't get it. He said he used to do coke, which apparently he's supposed to grind your teeth. What the fuck happened? Guy's got fucking tombstones in his mouth. He's got summer teeth. Some are green, some are gray.
Yeah. Fucking a guy didn't just snort coke; he used to snort fucking Pepsi, Fanta, whatever you got, you know.
Gary once gave himself an enema on the floor of the Bally's Gym bathroom stall to win a weight loss challenge. What a fucking moron!
Gary's lips are bigger than Jenny Jameson after giving birth after a 10-hour gangbang with the fucking steroid-filled tampon.
I always called Gary Plungerpuss. If you want to fucking watch something hilarious on Gary, YouTube Gary throwing out the first pitch at a Mets game. Oh, it's so funny. He was like he brought his kids. He's like, Jackson, Lucas, I'm going to throw out the first pitch. And then he throws the ball fucking into like right field. The worst first pitch ever thrown.
Holy fuck.
Go ahead and YouTube it, dude. I'm telling you, you guys would laugh your ass off.
Oh no, I've seen that. I've seen fucking babies throw grenades better. So, just to get to another feud, another sort of feud that you've had, and you sort of spoke about it on the Opie podcast, but I was on the way home from work, so didn't pay full attention. But what's the latest on just the gossip? You and Anthony Cumia. Is everything over?
Yeah, Anthony. See, the truth is, I had done Anthony's show 10 times. He loved having me on. We even did 2 episodes once at his house the same day. We did an episode, and then we did an episode watching Columbo. Hey, let me just ask you one more question. Just one more thing. Let me just ask you. But then I knew as soon as Artie got on Anthony's show, it would have been over, because Artie's just, he's a complete asshole to any comic who he feels is beneath him. So he just would fucking bash me, and then it obviously, it started to be contagious to Anthony, and Anthony started doing it. And that was it. But then Anthony and I got in the Twitter war, but then he started to make fun of my kids, which even the mob doesn't do that. I mean, you don't fucking hit on on someone's kids, So it got ugly, but now we've kind of chilled. I don't really talk much about him. He doesn't talk much about me, and he's been thrown off Twitter, so I don't even see any of his tweets. He doesn't tweet anymore, so I don't even know if he's still alive.
See, just because you said the word contagious there, do you want to hear me tell an old joke in the Andrew Dice Clay voice?
Sure.
So I said, the doctor asked me, hey, I fucking got it wrong. Oh, yeah. So a teacher says to me, hey, come up with a sentence using the word contagious. And I said, when my wife's getting ready to go out, it takes the contagious.
I saw that one coming.
So did she. She seen my dick coming. Oh!
Dickory, duck.
And just as I get ready to sign off here, because I don't want to take up all your time, I want to pitch you an idea that you can have for free.
What do you do for a living?
I'm an editor.
Oh, like a television editor?
Well, yeah, online documentary stuff.
Oh, good for you.
But I want to pitch this idea of, because I heard you and Jackie on Opie's podcast, and
Yeah.
you two still have this great chemistry. I'm pitching you this idea for free for you and Jackie to do a tour of the UK and Ireland stand-up. And you could do like 30 minutes each, and then you could do an hour of Q&A with the fans, and that's like a fucking 2-hour show.
Yeah, well, it's funny you mention that. I just shot a special with me, Jackie, and Billy West. He was on the Stern Show. He's awesome, and he's like the voice of so many characters. He's the voice of Bugs Bunny now. But me, Billy, and Jackie did a special, and my manager is working on doing shows with Jackie and I. But do people even know who we are in Ireland and England?
Big time, because because Stern never officially put a show on here, but all the bootleggers on YouTube had like hundreds of thousands, sometimes even millions of subscribers.
Well, you know what? I'll talk to my manager about it.
You might not realize it, but a lot of people over here know who Stuttering John is.
Wow, that's awesome. Did you guys, did I make the Irish newspapers about my prank phone call?
You made the fucking UK news. You were on the BBC News.
That's awesome.
Because they hate Trump over here. Well, the English hate them. A lot of Irish people don't really give a fuck. But just, yeah, I'll call you back sometime, Bob.
Not bad, brother.
But hey, I just want to. I'm going to let you go here, and thanks so much for coming on. This was fucking great.
Oh, no problem, brother. I'm Danish too, so I've been to Denmark and England, Norway, Sweden a bunch of times. I haven't been to Ireland, but my sister-in-law and my brother went there, and they loved it there because she's Irish. So, I'd love to come out there and do stand-up. What's the best comedy club out there?
Everybody just goes to the pubs and gets pissed. But there's a big place here called the Empire that's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, getting pissed means drunk over here, not getting angry.
No, I understand. In fact, a lot of my English friends say if they take a piss on you means they're goofing on you. All right. Well, everybody, go buy that book. Easy for you to say by Stuttering John Melendez.
There you go. And I'll plug the R server in the links.
Yeah, and follow me on Twitter at Stuttering John M and SutteringJohnMelendez.com.
There we go. Thanks very much, John.
All right, buddy. I'll see you.
Okay, thanks, John. And that was your episode. Thanks also to Paul and Brad for coming on. Hopefully they'll be back on again soon. And a little update of what's to come. As of last night, there's confirmation that an interview with the legendary Anthony Cumia is happening. So thanks to everyone who's helped me get that set up. And again, don't forget, there's links for Patreon. If you're on YouTube, check out the iTunes version. If you're on iTunes, check out the YouTube version. They're all worth it. I'll be back whenever I'm back. So it's Hughezy. Bye-bye.